Bill Belichick is joining the North Carolina Tar Heels. He will be the new head coach. He signed a 5-year, $50 million $50 million deal. That would be 10 years every year, $10 million every year. And it's kind of set up like his son will be the coach when he's done. I won't say this came out of nowhere, but it came out a couple weeks ago. When I originally heard about it, I was like, there's no way this is actually going to happen. He wants an NFL job. I didn't think that was going to happen. He said, did I have grandmothers? Yes. One of mine is still living. Yes. So I did have grandmothers. But anyway, Joe, you said you specifically wanted to talk about this move. The floor is yours.
So I'm going to say something controversial. I think the biggest thing I want to say is Bill Belichick is a system coach. When I mean system, I'm using it as a pejorative, the way folks talk about quarterbacks. Now, this is not to say that he's not the greatest coach of all time. He is. You can't deny the championship rings that he has. I do not think it is a wise decision to hire Bill Belichick in any form in 2024, specifically not college. NFL, I think you have more leeway with that, but college, no. The biggest issue I have with Bill Belichick is the fact that he got something that most NFL coaches could only dream of. And what he has that only most NFL coaches can dream of, you can assume already, that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, obviously the greatest quarterback of all time, but he's one of the healthiest quarterbacks of all time. He had this man for nearly 2 decades. That's consistency you just don't get. It doesn't happen, especially not to be at the top of your game. And Tom Brady was so great that the moment the man went to another team, a Super Bowl happened because he's that good. Now, obviously, that's not to say Bill Belichick is not the greatest coach. He's still the GOAT. I cannot deny his accomplishments. But my biggest issue is you're hiring a 72-year-old man to transform your program at a level that he has not been in quite some time, and you're doing it with North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, actually not in quite some time, the nigga's never been in the college level as a coach. He started with like the Baltimore Colts, like in the 70s. So to go to that, and then go to the college game, and you're spending $50 million on this man, I just don't think it's a smart decision. And you got to throw a little nepotism in. His son gets in there. Who knows how that's going to work out? But if you're Carolina, I'm sure the best thing to talk about is what do we have to lose? You're trying to get a new era. You're trying to build a program. North Carolina, I can't remember the last time North Carolina was relevant. I don't remember a time North Carolina was relevant ever in my 34 years of living. But I just don't understand the decision. Also, I don't understand the decision at the NFL level either. College, I don't understand even more, just because you're going to have to deal with the fact that you're dealing with young kids who don't care as much about winning a natty as much as they're trying to build that NIL up. And then you have to take a team that does a program that does not recruit with the best of them and start recruiting well. How do you deal with that? How do you address the differences culturally, age-wise with these young 18, 19-year-old students? And then you have to deal with the transfer portal. I just don't think that's a wise decision if I'm North Carolina. But again, they're not known for football. They're known for basketball. So I'm sure they're thinking, why not? On an NFL level, I do not trust him enough without Tom Brady. Bears fans were clamoring for Bill Belichick. And I get it, because he would automatically be the greatest Bears coach of all time without a single win. But you're coming to a situation where you're not going to have Thomas Edward Brady. And the effect that Brady has on Bill Belichick's career is just astounding. When he has Brady, the dude has like a 77% win percentage. When he doesn't, it dips below 50. And on top of that, it's also one playoff win. Now, I know folks remember, I want to say it was Matt Castle in like 2008 or something, 11-5, all great, amounted to nothing. And again, part of me, I'm being facetious and I'm just getting a takeoff. But I think the conversation around Bill Belichick misunderstands, one, how fucking old he is. At the end of this deal, he will be near 80 years old. And it's not like this is a man who's keeping himself in the greatest of shape. This is a man who is old and looks old. And you're trusting him to build your program up. I'm not hiring a 70-year-old coach, 72-year-old coach. It's just not happening. And so I never understood the clamor. And again, the game has evolved so much.
He is dating a 24-year-old.
Which is nuts. She's gross. I get it. She wants to get the bag. That's fine. She's gross. That's disgusting. It has to be the bag. Anyway, and so the game has evolved so much since Bill Belichick was at his prime. I don't know if I believe in him to adapt to this now. Again, I could be wrong, but this is just assumption. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's gonna be there the whole 5 years. I think you said it right. Like they went from Mac Brown, who was 73, to Bill Belichick, who's 72. Like it's not like this is a youth movement here. I think Bill more than anything, to me, this is a pride thing for Bill. A lot of niggas been throwing dirt on Bill's name. What you've been saying is what a lot of people been saying about Bill over these last couple years, especially with the Mac Jones thing, with Brady leaving. Brady went on to win the Super Bowl, stay in the playoffs in this couple years in Tampa Bay. And the Patriots made one appearance in the playoffs, but they got dusted by the Buffalo Bills. And besides that, it was just been bad. And a lot of people been talking crazy about him. If you watch the Patriots documentary that Robert Kraft and Apple TV put together, it basically said, "Hey, me and Tom Brady won these, not you, Belichick. And you were bad in all these different facets. You want to keep a murderer on the team. You want to do this, that, and third. I was the one who intervened and kept you around longer than you should have." I think he hears that. He's like, you know what, nigga, I'm finna go to college and prove y'all I'm still like that. If he was 10, 15 years younger, I have no problem with this. Like you just said, he's 72. I don't even think he's gonna be there that long for the 5 years. I think maybe after 2 years, he might just ride off to the sunset and give it to his son. I do believe he still wants one last crack at it in the NFL. I know Shane O'Mac, you said no teams called him in the NFL. That says a lot. He had to interview twice for the Atlanta job. I think to me, he's the greatest coach ever. But I do feel like his time has passed a little bit. There's a lot of Bears fans, a lot of Bears media who are upset about the Bears not even trying to interview him. I have no problem with them not trying to interview him. To me, he has a thing that was great for that era. To me, that's like the NBA. If you brought Phil Jackson back and he goes to go coach the Grizzlies, good luck. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody said that Bill Belichick's gonna be talking to niggas who grew up on Boss Man D-Lo. That's a different generation, bro. Different generation. The ACC isn't world beaters. Clemson isn't a team that's gonna run with anything. Miami jacked it this year, but I do believe this is a situation where you have $70 million they're gonna spend in NIL dollars and trying to get the best commitments. I think that with North Carolina's perspective, they're looking at what Coach Prime is doing in Colorado. Maybe they can get a spin off of that. Granted, Coach Prime like 30 years younger, and Bill Belichick ain't Coach Prime, but I think that's what their I guess like feeling was trying to reach out to him.
I think it's a little more simple than that. Often since that, yes, the landscape has changed, but now when you have an alumni base like the University of North Carolina, where they have some of the richest alumni in the United States of America, it's like now we just want names. It's about name recognition. It's like, okay, we want Bill at the head of this, and we're going to go out here and spend this money, like you said, $70 million to fill out this football roster. So I think for Bill Belichick, you're just looking at a man who is, I think some of the NFL shit is overstated. I think he's really just completing side quests in life at this point. His father was an assistant at University of North Carolina, and now it's the point where I can set my son up to be the head coach of North Carolina. So there probably was in the beginning some, salty feelings about not really getting real chances at, catching Don Shula and being, the most winningest coach of all time. But by many, he's already considered the greatest coach ever. So I think for Belichick, it's like, okay, I'm going to go back here. My dad was an assistant here. I'm going to be the head coach. And more importantly, now I'm setting my son up to where he's going to be the head coach when I walk away. And now we can, continue the Belichick name at a place where, my father, his grandfather once was on the same sideline. So I think it's not as much about the NFL, just more so he's done it all. So it's like I don't have to wait around for y'all and hope that somebody hires me. If you don't want to hire me, fuck it. I'm going to go over here and do this. And then I'm going to put my son on and ride off into the sunset with my shorty.
And then he'll die in 5 years and she'll get all his money.
Damn.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, man.
Hey man, look, I've seen what Bill Belichick is doing all the time for niggas in the hood. Bill Belichick ain't doing nothing different than a drug dealer going to a small town and going up and set up shop. That's what Bill Belichick is doing. He can't go over here because they got the product over here. He can't go over there because they got the product over there. I could go to this small town, but they're going to give me everything I want, and I could go ahead and set up shop. Ain't nobody going to bother me. That's why he's going to North Carolina, ladies and gentlemen. He going over there, he taking over the block. As simple as that. He's just taking over the block. When you look at North Carolina, what is North Carolina going to not give him? Like he reportedly came through with a 400-page book on how to do this, do that. Man, whatever, fam. You ain't even got to do all that
Which
shit.
he said was cap. He said it was cap.
But here's the thing. It don't even. That's what I'm saying. It don't even matter. You Bill Belichick going to a school that's a basketball school. It's a basketball school. You could go over there and they've had no expectation, and they like, yo, oh shit. You want to come here? That's great. That's like Jackson State and Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, like, yo, our coach, they like, oh shit, Deion Sanders, that's great. Like Bill Belichick going to a school that got checks and balances, a bigger school, they not gonna do that, even though you are who you are. So really, him going to North Carolina is just like a drug dealer going to a small town and setting up shop. Ain't nobody gonna bother me. That's what North Carolina is. I don't expect him to win there. I don't expect him to go to a damn playoff because I don't even at their worst, I don't expect North Carolina to be better than Clemson. And the way right now SMU is, don't expect him to be better than them. No, so nah. Like and then he's bringing the homies with him too. Like, oh, come on, man.
He bringing the homies in them niggas.
Yeah, he bringing the homies with him too. Yeah, I smell setting up shop all day long. Like Mac Lombardi come. They said he was on Zoom meetings with all of the homies. Like, shit, the Bears, you know, they gonna go after Ben Johnson and shit. So Josh McDaniels gonna slide down there. Matt Patricia gonna slide down there. You fucking fine Pepper Johnson. He gonna be down there. Hey, Tyler, you wanna coach cornerbacks? He's going to do the white version of what Deion Sanders did at Jackson State and then at Colorado. The only advice that I have for Bill Belichick is to get you some colored folks on there. Get you some black folks on there and go ahead and swag it out. But he's doing this. He saw what Deion Sanders did at Jackson State and Colorado. He's going to try to do the same thing. We was talking shit about Deion Sanders. Like, oh, man, Colorado, I don't know if you want to go there. And he went to Colorado, but he ain't win no Big 12 yet and all that stuff. But he's competing. He's going to do enough to compete. But he still got to go up against SMU. Still got to go up against Clemson. And even though they shitted the bed this year, hey, man, shit, if Gus Malzahn them could get that shit back on track over there, FSU too. So, no, I'm not so sure about this experiment other than this is Bill Belichick's way of just shutting up shop and just doing what he liked to do in the first place, just coach.
You know, on top of that, I think when folks, say, this is a 12-team playoff, yeah, I agree. Obviously, it is 12 teams. But you got to think about how those 12 spots are given out. Mm-hmm. You got your automatic qualifiers who are going to win their conference. And then outside of that, the vast majority are going to be filled out by the Big Ten, and they're going to be filled out by the SEC. Then you have a couple small spots where a school like SMU fits in. So it's not like, if they stay competitive in the ACC, they're going to get in. Probably not. SMU got in simply because Bama sucked ass. Bama was freaking 3 losses. It's just not going to happen. SMU didn't have that. But North Carolina, in order to get themselves in, you damn near got to run the table every year. And then you got to beat Clemson, who's running for a very, very long time. SMU obviously on the come up. I don't see it in Miami. I don't know what they'll do and Cam Ward leaves, but I don't think it's something that North Carolina can usurp so easily because you're going to have to rebuild that from scratch. That's a tough task.
They said Buddy might transfer there. Fake Patrick Mahomes. Raiola.
Yeah, they did.
They said he may travel to Miami.
Let me put you on game real quick. And he hasn't entered the transfer portal yet. But Cam Ward's backup in Washington State, his name is John Mateer. That's the dog to watch.
So cool. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade. Yeah, we code too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line. So I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line.